Most new traders lose money because they trade without a plan. They don't have a playbook, they don't know where to take profit, they don't know where their stop loss should be, and they don't know how to have a proper risk to reward. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make my trade decisions using my playbook, having a proper profit target and a stop loss that tells me what my risk to reward will be and whether a trade is worthwhile to take or not. To set the scene, I'm going to be trading AMD today. It has been a stock in play for the last few days with very good price movement and lots of trading opportunities. Today it has been gapping up, though not by a large amount, but it did show clear areas of resistance at the pre-market high and also areas of support and resistance at the previous day close and the previous day low. So I thought that this would actually present a number of trading opportunities today. So it was very high up on my watch list. And at the open, I really saw a good price movement. So I thought that it would be a good stop to trade. And you can see right here at the open, it's really sold off down to the VWAP. And I'm about to be presented with my first trading opportunity. So this is the opening bounce. And this is one of my plays. Essentially how it works is a stock has gapped up, then it sells off right at the open down to the VWAP where it shows strength and goes back up. And then you could take it long as it continues its upward momentum. This is, an example of the opening bounce on NVIDIA. It gapped up, and then initially at the open, it sold off back down towards the VWAP. And then it shows strength, goes back up, and you take a long, and then you ride that momentum upwards. So let's see how that works out with AMD here. So we do see this similar set as here. It did gap up. It did sell off at the open, back down to the VWAP where it showed a clear rejection. So now I need to start making decisions and thinking about my playbook. And one of the first things I noticed is that the price action during the pre-market was a little choppy. It actually first sold off before actually rallying and going back up. And part of my playbook says that this, should really show a clear direction during the pre-market. Now, this isn't terrible because the later pre-market, it did go up, pretty steadily, but it was one of the things that I was considered. Next, I had to look at, where my stop, my entry, and my profit target would be. Now, if I look at this is where I would get in. My stop would be down near below the VWAP, just at the lowest of this candle. And my profit target would be up here at 209. So that doesn't really present a good risk to reward. However, I did think about this alternate entry point back down around 207 if the stock could sell off a little bit here, but still keep that, clear rejection of the VWAP. This could be a potential trading opportunity because that does offer closer to a 3-to-1 risk to reward. So I'm not getting in now. I'm thinking about this trade, but I'm going to watch and see how the stock reacts here. So in this case, it actually never came back down. So I never really got that good opportunity to get in here. And, if it goes up, I'm going to keep watching it to see around that 209 area where there was resistance before. Maybe there'll be an opportunity there. But unfortunately, my first play, it didn't work for me. Maybe I could have been faster and got in, but I didn't really have the time. And again, when I was thinking about it, it wasn't a sticker-made setup for me, and it didn't follow all my rules, so I didn't take it. And that did turn out to be a good thing because you see, well, it did go up. It actually then started selling off pretty quickly. But for me, this is actually going to be presenting another trading opportunity here. This is the VWAP Reclaim. And so this is another play that I like, where a stock sells off through the VWAP or it buys up through the VWAP, depending on the direction. And then it crosses the VWAP again, rejects, and comes back through the VWAP. And so this is the kind of setup that I was seeing here. So when I look at this and I start analyzing it, if I were to enter here, my stock would be up here above the VWAP, right around, the high of this candle. And then my profit target would be at the pre-market low. Or sorry, that's not pre-market low. That is the previous day low. And so I'm looking at that, and it does present a pretty good risk to reward opportunity. It's only 2 to 1, but it's not bad. But what I also start to look at is the level 2. Now I do see a couple big orders to the top side, which are a little concerning. But to the bottom side, I actually see a lot of orders and a bit of a ladder as well. The other thing I note is that there is a big order right below where the price is right now, which is right at the previous day close. And if I'm going to get into this trade, I need to get in right away, because usually you want to stack in front of big orders, because that momentum from them will usually propel them in that direction. So I do have to go ahead and make a decision, and I get short here. That order gets filled, and AMD does actually sell off pretty quickly there. Now I'm not doing anything at the moment. It's getting down to my profit target, but I'm not actually going to do anything until it gets to there. I need to make sure that I get that proper risk to reward. If I start taking things early, then I mess up all my metrics, and it's really not a good trade. So I wait, and it does rally here, but my stop loss is still, quite a bit higher. So I'm still waiting here to see what happens. And I am actually pretty confident that this will go down. I don't see a lot of orders to the top side. I see a lot more to the downside. So it is looking pretty bearish. And I'm just waiting here for it to get down to that 204.50 level. So close. There, it hits it. I take my first partial. Now, I didn't get there all the way there, though I could have. But I saw more orders to the downside. So I only took a partial there. And I'm hoping that this gets down to, that 204 level where I see another big order. Now, my stop loss has been moved to break even, and I got hit. And as soon as I take profit, I move my stop loss to break even so that I don't lose money on the trade after making money. But since we are here, there's actually another trade opportunity setting up. So I got stopped out, but I can't get it back in again. And this is the VWAP Bounce. So for me, this is another trade I like. Again, you'll see that I trade a lot around the VWAP. It's kind of my style of trading, and that's what I've built my playbook around. So the VWAP Bounce happens when a stock either sells off away from the VWAP and, it establishes a good direction, and then it returns to the VWAP, tests it, rejects it, and continues downward. It also works in the opposite direction as well. So let's take a look at what we're looking at here. So this would kind of be my trade setup. I kind of want the stock to come back to VWAP and test it. But I would enter at around the level where it's at right now, and then my stop loss would be a little bit above VWAP. But we'll have to see, what happens. But this is a general idea. And then my profit target is actually down at 204, which is where I saw that huge order to the downside. You'll see it here. I actually see a kind of a pretty good ladder to the downside. So it's giving me a lot of confidence. And, I want to set my order or my profit target where I see that big order. To the top side, I actually don't see many orders, which is also giving me a lot of confidence. I do see the one at 206, which I expect to be filled. And then there's another one right at 206.45, which is essentially the VWAP. So I kind of think I might go there and reject. So I'm really starting to plan this trade based on that idea. So let's take a look at what happens here. So it does go up and fill that big order at 206. And now it's going to chop here for a bit. I see the order at 206.45 about lifted. So I'm not sure it's actually going to make it up to the VWAP anymore. And so really I'm waiting to see what happens here. I'm kind of hoping it gets up there so that I can take this trade. Unfortunately, it does start selling off here, so I've kind of lost the opportunity to get into this trade for now. But I'm still watching it. I still see lots of orders to the downside. It's showing weakness here. It has sold off a lot, so I really don't know what I'm going to be able to do here. But now it comes back up, and it comes back up to this 206 level right near the VWAP. And I think to myself, if it rejects this, which is the yesterday close again, I'm going to go ahead and get in. And it did reject it, and this is exactly what I do. I go short right here, And I have my profit target down at 204. So let's see what happens. Now again, I'm feeling pretty good about this trade. It rejected that 206 level again. And again, that is an important level. So I really think that it's going to sell off here. And I do see all those orders to the downside. And that is exactly what happens. It really flushes down here in a beautiful move to the downside. When you see those rejections at these key levels, you know, it's a good trade to take, especially if it sets up with your playbook. And in mine, it did. So I took my first partial there at 204. And I'm really looking for this to get down to 203 for my next partial. And I'll take a look at the order book, maybe if we get down to 202. But I'm probably going to get most of the way out at 203 because that's already going to be, you know, almost a $3 move, which is a pretty solid move on a stock like AMD. And then, but once it starts getting down, I'll have a better idea. I'll probably leave a little bit on if it gets down to 203, just to see if it gets any lower, but I'll probably be maybe 80% out of my position if it gets to 203. And it did, and I am actually 80% out of my position now. But now I'm just keeping that extra little bit to see what happens. So as you can see there, I just showed you 3 setups on one stock in about the first 10 minutes of the market, and how you can really use your playbook and, you know, the level 2 and the price action to determine where you should enter and trade, where your stock should be, where your profit targets to be, in order to have proper risk to reward and make good trading decisions. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss my next trading breakdown.